Good morning, everybody. I want to thank everyone for coming. I appreciate that. Thank you. My name is Zach Seidel. I'm Deputy Mayor of Communications for Mayor Bass. Ahead of her one-year anniversary on December 12th, Mayor Bass is crisscrossing Los Angeles, highlighting her work on homelessness, safety, business, climate, and city services. And today we are focused on homelessness. This morning, the mayor will announce how many Angelenos have been brought inside in the past year and all efforts that she led to hit the ground running in confronting this crisis. After we hear from the mayor, we're going to hear from Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary Richard Minacchio, who's joining us from D.C. Thank you for being here. After that, we will hear from Councilman Hugo Soto Martinez, who represents this area. Following that, we'll hear from Councilwoman Rahman, who chairs the Homelessness and Housing Committee on the City Council. Following that, we'll hear from another one of our partners on City Council, Councilman Bob Blumenfield, who chairs the Budget Committee, without whom many of this would not be possible. Thank you, Chairman. After that, we will be joined by the Superintendent of LAUSD Schools. And following that, we'll hear remarks from the Chief of Housing and Homelessness Solutions, Lourdes Castro Ramirez. Just a reminder to everyone that at noon we will be doing a data deep dive in the press conference room. And with that, I will hand it over to Mayor Bass.
Good morning, good morning. This is a wonderful way to start the day. I want to thank you for being here today, and I especially want to thank the parents for being here. From day one, we have tried to set a new tone in the city. This is an example of that new tone. 41 people used to sleep here, and now it's clear. Students and parents don't need to walk around tents on their way to school, and the Angelenos who are living here do not need to die on our streets. And that's what this is all about. That's why we have been taking urgent action, because this truly is a matter of life and death. Like I said on day one, this is an emergency, and we will continue to treat it that way. We have and we will continue to use a comprehensive approach, one that includes resolving encampments, not by moving people around from street to street, but by housing people. We will be building more housing faster, collaborating with our partners at the federal, state, and local level, like you see here with me here today. Councilman Soto Martinez, Councilwoman Rahman, Councilman Blumenfield, and our partners at HUD, especially Jason Poo, who is the local HUD representative, who has just been an outstanding partner. This is how we get things done. This is why we talk about locking arms. It's not rhetoric, it's an actual strategy. According to data worked on by LASA and housing experts, since a year ago, we have been able to work and bring inside more than 20,000 Angelenos. This has certainly not been easy, and I've always said that confronting this crisis is like peeling an onion, and when you peel an onion, you cry along the way, because every time we've taken a step forward, we find a barrier, and we have to knock that barrier down. We move another step forward, we find another barrier, but we will continue to knock all of the barriers down until there are no Angelenos that are left to live and die on our streets. This is what happens when we act collectively, and collectively we have accomplished nearly 5,000 more Angelenos entering interim housing this year than last year. We've nearly doubled the amount of Angelenos who've entered permanent housing compared to last year. We've been building housing faster. Approvals received in a record 45 days that used to be 6 months. More than 9,000 units of affordable housing are in an expedited timeline thanks to action that was taken at the beginning of the year. A few weeks ago, I actually went to the grand opening where elderly unhoused Angelenos moved in this year, and without the expedited actions, they would have been on the streets until next year. We're taking historic actions to also support Angelenos from falling into homelessness. The Mayor's Fund is dedicated to reaching out to Angelenos who might be in risk of eviction so that we can prevent the inflow of homelessness. And this has completely, from day one, been a team team effort. I want to thank everyone here from our local service providers at Hoppick, St. Joseph Center, the people concerned, Hope the Mission, Path, and more, all the way up to the President and the Vice President of the United States, the Governor of California. Everyone has weighed in on this crisis. The challenges we still face are great. We have to get more Angelenos into permanent housing, and we have to get the cost down. We must improve our services, and one of the peels of the onions that we have discovered this year is the lack of data, and we have to improve our efforts to track who is homeless, who has moved into housing, and how they are faring. And we will. We have proved this year that we will make change. We will do it collectively. We will be united in that effort, and we will confront this crisis until it is over. Join me in welcoming the Deputy Assistant Secretary from HUD, Richard Maynacchio. Richard Maynacchio.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much, Mayor Bass, for your commitment on this issue and your leadership. Again, my name is Richard Maynacchio, representing the Biden administration and Secretary Fudge. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm spending several days here working with the mayor's team to help be a partner in solving the problem that we've heard about. And I might add, the problem that we are making great progress on. Nationally, it's important to reflect on what's been done. The American Rescue Plan that was passed during the pandemic has provided $21 billion to keep 8 million people housed in this country. So when we talk about homelessness, we're also talking about prevention, and we can't forget how important that is. $5 billion has been allocated for emergency housing vouchers, taking people from homelessness directly into permanent housing. And I'm very proud to say that 10,000 of those vouchers have been issued, and we have people from Los Angeles and Los Angeles County using these vouchers to live in permanent housing. Another $5 billion in the federal block grant program has been awarded to create 20,000 new units of supportive housing for homeless people in this country. It's also important to note that we're working very hard on veterans homelessness. We've achieved a great deal on that. Nationally, 38,000 homeless veterans were housed last year. We're going to top that number this year. The president's all-in approach, which Los Angeles is a part of, is dedicated to bringing all federal resources together to work, as Mayor Bass said, with the locality, which is on the ground dealing with this issue, the state of California, which is a huge player in this as well. We just released also to LASA and other homeless entities across the country a record-breaking $3.1 billion nationally to combat homelessness. I want to spend a few minutes, though, talking about Los Angeles. We commend Mayor Bass and her team for the steadfast commitment that was made here on day one. We don't see that every place, and Los Angeles has been a leader in this effort. We're very proud to say that we were, at the city's behest, able to provide waivers to some federal rules that allowed homeless people to move to permanent housing 3 times faster, right? Off the street 3 times faster, out of temporary housing 3 times faster. And it's also very important to note that the Housing Authority of HACLA, Los Angeles, has done a great deal in this effort, as are public housing authorities across the country. The HACLA has dedicated 45% of its resources to homeless people. So that's an example, I think, of the ways where all levels of government are coming together to tackle a problem, a national crisis of huge importance to this administration and this mayor. So I thank you for allowing me to speak. And with that, I'm going to introduce the member whose district we're in, Council Member Hugo Soto Martinez. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words and for coming here from Washington, D.C. We love to see it. First of all, my name is Hugo Soto Martinez. I'm the council member for this district. Welcome to the heart of Hollywood. And I do want to first thank our amazing mayor. It's not easy to say, I'm going to take this head on. I'm going to put this on my shoulder, but I need people to collaborate with me. It takes a tremendous amount of leadership, and I just want to thank her for all the amazing work that she's done in just a short year. Of course, I want to thank Councilmember Nithya Raman, who chairs the Housing and Homelessness Committee. I think you've given us in the city a model of how we can do this work that is compassionate, loving, and it's also a more permanent solution. Councilmember Bob Blumenfield for chairing the Budget and Finance Committee. We know that making decisions about money and how we use those limited resources are never easy, but you do it with grace and thoughtfulness, and I do want to just uplift that. And also to Richard Manacchio for coming here and bringing that DC flavor that only the mayor can deliver with those connections, so I do want to thank that. If we were here a year ago, we would be standing in the middle of a very large encampment. But today, because of all the collaborative effort and the leadership, folks are indoors, they are being cared for, and they're on their way to having a normal life. Now, this encampment was one of the biggest issues we had identified because it was in a sensitive area. It was by schools, and we know we needed to do something. But what we did not want to do was something that had been done in this district for many years, and just pushing them away, and then folks would come back, pushing them away, and they would come back, making it an issue of our neighbors or our children on their way to school. We wanted something more permanent, but I would say that it is a new day in Los Angeles, and we are turning the tide on how we approach this issue across the city, because we're saying we're not going to curse the challenge, but rather we're going to shed a light to this issue. We're going to do it in a loving and compassionate way, and we're going to do it as best as we can with so many different folks. Now, in August, when we came here and did an InsideSafe, literally within a matter of days, we were able to move people indoors. But I also got to give a lot of thanks to the bottom of my heart, truly, to the parents who are here behind me, who were patient, who bought into what we were trying to do. And I just want to say thank you so much. I know this was not an easy thing for a lot of us that were involved, but we did it. We did what I think is compassionate and sustainable, and something that we can, and a good reason why we can enjoy the children's laughter in our background today. When we did this InsideSafe, 99% of the people that we spoke to took the housing. And the most important thing about that is that we are dispelling this myth that people are service resistant. They are not service resistant. They are ready to go indoors, but we need to do it in a compassionate way, and we know that it works. And as the mayor talked about the citywide numbers, which should be applauded as much as possible. But we do have some serious challenges. We have some headwinds, but the thing that I'm the most optimistic about is that we are on the right track. We're not going to turn over something that has been decades in the making, but I know that we're on the right track, and for that, it gives me a deep sense of optimism, and because of all this leadership, we are finally housing the people in Hollywood in the correct way. And so I hope this year shows that we're doing the right thing, and here's to many more years to come under the right leadership. Thank you so much. And I could do it in Spanish too if I want. So lo voy a hacer en español un poquito. Si estuviéramos aquí hace un año, estuviéramos enredados con un campamento con gente viviendo en la calle, dejados para morirse en las calles. Pero gracias por el liderazgo de la alcaldesa, esa gente hoy está bajo un techo, tienen tratamiento y están en un paso más para vivir una vida más normal. Y eso es algo muy diferente como se hacían las cosas en este distrito. En este distrito estábamos acostumbrados a mover la gente de un lado de la ciudad a la otro y no teniendo soluciones permanentes. Pero hoy en día tenemos una solución para la gente que está viviendo en la calle, una solución permanente, una solución que lidia con amor y una solución que va a ser bien para toda la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Quiero agradecer a todas las personas que han sido parte de esto, porque si no tenemos la colaboración de todas las personas en la ciudad de Los Ángeles, esto no sería posible. Y hoy en día en Hollywood estamos poniendo a la gente bajo un techo y no dejándolos morirse en la calle, y gracias a todos los que están aquí, y sí se puede.
So I'm Bob Blumenfield. I'm City Council member. I represent the West San Fernando Valley. I'm thrilled to be here today. First, I just want to riff off something my colleague was saying, Nithya Ram, about the change with place-based encampment resolution. That's huge. That was something, we were doing it before, but we used to get all this pushback from service providers and from LASA, quite frankly. But when the mayor came in and said, there's a new day, there's a new mayor in town, and we're going to do things differently, and we're going to run hard, and we're going to run fast, things changed. That place-based idea was embraced. And the mayor, and I got to give her a lot of credit, she came in at a very difficult time. The first mayor to have to come in December, in the middle of the budget process, instead of at the beginning when they could really. But she came in and she was running hard, making a difference, and said, "We're gonna focus. I know the process has been already halfway through. I'm gonna do everything I can to shape that, to really focus on homelessness and to focus on a new approach." And she made some audacious asks in the budget that we, as a council, wanting to lock arms with her, embraced. Obviously, the InsideSafe $250 million approach, a huge amount of general fund going to this place-based approach was first and foremost among it. But it wasn't just the changes within the council and within the policy, although those are really important. But it was also the fact that this mayor has a broad perspective, and we're seeing this. This is a year later. And all that talk that we've had, we can now look back and say, well, what's happened after this year? She has worked with other levels of government in a way that we have not seen before. When Mr. Soto Martinez and I and the mayor went to Washington recently, we were embraced by the folks there in D.C. Her relationships made a difference. When we went to meet with Secretary Fudge, it wasn't just hi, how are you? It was a warm embrace, literally and physically. That the two of them have known each other, they've worked together, and that is important because not only do we rely on the federal government for funding, but for understanding our needs and for tweaking formulas that have been holding us back. And I'm really grateful to the HUD for stepping up. And the fact that Deputy Assistant Secretary Manaccio is here today is testament to that. And I was talking to him earlier about, he's saying, we're going to give you everything that you need. We are in this together. That is an approach that can work, because homelessness is not something that is limited to one city or one area. In Los Angeles, the problem is deep, and we need all levels of government to participate. So I am, so pleased that we've had a mayor who understands that, who has been running hard. She may be wearing heels, but she runs fast and hard, and has not stopped. So, and we've done, over the last 5 years, we allocated, $703 million to interim housing. This year alone, $134 million committed to the operations of these interim sites, and that's in addition to the $250 million InsideSafe that I was talking about. And of course, the federal funding is the key to getting that throughput, to getting the money for the housing, the vouchers on the other end, because we can't have a bottleneck. We know homelessness is complex, and we need to work it through. So I'm very grateful to this mayor. She has been doing a fantastic job, and she is one who understands the nuances of this. That we need to deal with folks in a humane way, to get people off the street, to get them housed. But she also understands the importance of encampment resolution. And the importance of, when you're in a school, that you can't have an encampment in front of that school. Which isn't really important, and it was important here, where kids had to walk into the street to get to school. It's important in my district, where we had that same situation, kids walking into the street. So I think that is a good segue to bring up our next speaker, School Superintendent Alberto Carvalho. Yay.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm here for a very simple reason. I'm here to demonstrate our collective solidarity as a school system with Mayor Bass, the City Council, and the leaders in our community who envision a better community by partnering the school system with a greater LA representation. If I were to tell you the kinds of things that the mayor and I, the city, and the school district have partnered on over the past year, you wouldn't have enough time. We have partnered on resolving significant serious labor issues, and now being in a position where close to 100% of our workforce, 75,000 strong, are under multi-year contracts. We partnered on accelerating the hiring of crossing guards to protect our students and our workforce around schools. We have partnered in creating safe passages to and from schools. We have partnered in effective communication and preparation for tropical storms, as well as the shutdown of an interchange, a highway in our community to redirect our school buses and our workforce to alleviate traffic. We have partnered in welcoming the Secretary of Education, exploring workforce readiness training programs for the benefit of our community. We have done so much so quickly. This is a mayor who answers your call early in the morning, late in the evening, and any time during the day. So Mayor Bass and the City Council, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your partnership. I've been superintendent for 17 years across the country. Never before have I experienced the level of access, support, and friendship from a municipal leader as I have from Mayor Karen Bass. Me siento muy orgulloso de celebrar un año del liderazgo de nuestra alcaldesa, la señora Karen Bass, una persona con una gran integridad, con una gran responsabilidad, inteligencia, pero también compasión. Hemos colaborado en temas muy importantes en el desarrollo e implementación de programas de seguridad alrededor de nuestras escuelas. Hemos colaborado también en negociar contratos laborales con nuestros sindicatos. Hemos colaborado en comunicaciones eficientes y efectivas para nuestra comunidad, para informar a los miembros de nuestra comunidad sobre tormentas y otras dificultades enfrentadas en nuestra comunidad. Estamos colaborando en desarrollar e implementar programas de entrenamiento para los adultos en nuestra comunidad. Es una líder de alta calidad y me siento muy honrado de colaborar no solamente con nuestra alcaldesa, pero también con los líderes de nuestra ciudad de Los Ángeles. Thank you very much. And now it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce the Chief of Housing and Homelessness Solutions, Ms. Lourdes Castro Ramirez.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Muy buenos días. As mentioned, I'm Lourdes Castro Ramirez, and I have the great honor of serving as the Chief of Housing and Homelessness. 1 month in, and very proud of the many accomplishments that have been gained in the housing and homelessness space, thanks to the leadership of Mayor Bass and the collaboration across the City Council and with so many partners, including, of course, our partners at the federal level. I'm going to share some very brief remarks in Spanish, and if you will indulge me, I know the sun is very hot. So, muy buenos días. Me gustaría agradecerles por su amable presencia. Soy Lourdes Castro Ramírez, la jefa de la Oficina de Servicios de Vivienda para la alcaldesa Karen Bass. Hoy me gustaría hablar acerca de nuestro progreso en la construcción de más viviendas para enfrentar la crisis de personas sin hogar. Desde el primer día, la alcaldesa Bass estableció un nuevo tono aquí en Los Ángeles, y eso se puede ver aquí en esta calle, en esta misma calle. Aquí dormían más de 40 personas y ahora esta calle se encuentra vacía y limpia. Los estudiantes y padres de familia que están con nosotros, algunos, ahora pueden caminar de manera segura rumbo a la escuela, y hemos salvado vidas. Sí, hemos salvado vidas. Y de eso se trata. Por eso hemos estado tomando medidas urgentes, porque esto es una cuestión de vida o muerte. Como dijo la alcaldesa, desde el primer día, esto es una emergencia y la vamos a tratar como una emergencia. Queremos ser muy claros, hemos marcado la pauta, nos hemos preparado para trabajar arduamente, hemos forjado colaboraciones y estamos cumpliendo por Los Ángeles. Lo hemos hecho gracias a un enfoque integral, uno que incluye resolver los campamentos, construir más viviendas de manera más rápida, colaborar con nuestros socios a nivel federal, estatal y local, tal como pueden ver hoy con la presencia del concejal Soto Martínez, de la concejal Raman, del concejal Blumenfield y de nuestros socios a nivel federal. Así es como hacemos las cosas aquí en Los Ángeles. Establecer sociedades no son palabras vacías. Se trata de la estrategia. Desde que la alcaldesa asumió el cargo hace un año, hemos logrado albergar a más de 21,000 personas sin hogar. Esto no ha sido nada fácil, es como pelar una cebolla, porque con cada capa que se quita surgen nuevos desafíos. Pero cuando surgen nuevas barreras, no nos acobardamos, quizás chillamos un poco, como dijo la alcaldesa, pero no nos acobardamos, no nos asustamos, lo resolvemos. Por ejemplo, cuando nos enteramos de que había una solicitud que los angelinos sin hogar tenían que llenar para comprobar que no tenían hogar, llamamos a nuestros socios del gobierno federal y trabajamos para obtener una extensión para que el papeleo no mantuviera a nadie en la calle. Otro nivel de la cebolla son las cifras. No teníamos la capacidad de recopilar y de analizar datos. Hemos logrado progreso significativo. Brevemente quiero compartir algunos de los datos que tenemos. Más de 5,000 angelinos sin hogar ingresaron a viviendas provisionales este año que el año pasado. Casi hemos duplicado la cantidad de angelinos que ingresaron a viviendas permanentes en comparación con el año pasado. Hemos llevado a cabo 32 operaciones de InsideSafe y hemos albergado a casi 2,000 angelinos a través de este nuevo esfuerzo. Estamos construyendo más viviendas más rápido. Las aprobaciones son dadas ahora en 45 días en vez de 6 meses. Y tenemos mucho más que celebrar. Los invitamos a que nos acompañen a la mesa redonda de prensa al mediodía en la alcaldía, donde pueden obtener más detalles. Este ha sido un esfuerzo de equipo. Agradezco al equipo del Mayor's Office de Housing and Homelessness por toda su labor. También agradecemos a todos nuestros colaboradores, hasta el presidente Biden y la vicepresidente Harris. Por fin, los desafíos que enfrentamos siguen siendo muy grandes. Claro, este problema no se ha hecho en un año, ha sido a cuestión de muchos años. Pero debemos de lograr que más angelinos tengan viviendas permanentes. Tenemos que bajar los costos, debemos mejorar nuestros servicios y continuar con nuestros esfuerzos para mejorar los datos. Y lo haremos. Así como lo demostramos este primer año, haremos el cambio, alojaremos a los angelinos y enfrentaremos esta crisis juntos. Muchas gracias.
My name is Marion Bell, and I represent the parents here at the school. There's over 600 kids here. And just want to thank Mayor Bass and Councilmember Soto Martinez and all the other partners who are here for their work, and particularly in bringing the InsideSafe to our street, which is a very complicated, complex ecosystem here. And for housing 41 of our unhoused neighbors, we're so grateful. And we are so grateful that the children who attend this school are now able to use this sidewalk. They don't have to walk into the street. And they can also see an example of part of our school mission, which is to inspire kids to improve the community around them. And I feel like we've done that today. So thank you very much to everyone who's helped.